Welcome to the 7th episode of the Fabric Spotlight, where we discuss entrepreneurship and technology strategy with leaders in the cloud and IoT infrastructure space. Today, I'll be discussing with Erasmo Leon, who leads the corporate strategy at VMware regarding VMware Strategy about cloud and IoT infrastructure. Thanks for coming, Erasmo.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Before we get rolling with everything else, could you share a bit about your own personal journey, how you got to VMware and experiences that shaped and how it's going on at VMware?
Sure, absolutely. So I started my career as a product management at Motorola. At that time, I was working on industrial and automotive electronics. Okay. So that really gave me the foundation on engineering discipline, building products for quality and reliability, and doing business trade-offs that you need to do when you're building and developing a product. From there, I transitioned to a more business-oriented career. I did that first by going to Stanford and getting my MBA, and I followed that by 4 years at McKinsey & Company doing strategy work. And what that brought to my background was the ability to inject the business judgment, strategy, marketing, and all the business disciplines to solving problems in technology. After that, I decided to go back into industry. So I've had strategy and corporate development roles at NetApp and at VMware. And that really gave me the opportunity to bring all together, bring in the technical know-how with the strategy, discipline, looking at problems from an external and internal point of view, bringing in the strategy, marketing, finance, just to solve business and technology problems.
Excellent, excellent. So when it comes to VMware, what would you say are the key elements of the cloud and IoT infrastructure strategy that you would like to highlight for the audience?
Yeah. Vmware Strategy is based on our mission, which we've articulated as any app, any device, and any cloud.
Okay.
So what that means for cloud is we continue the journey that we started 20 years ago, helping our customers build a private cloud. We started with on the compute side, and we now continue doing that on the network side and on the storage side, bringing software-defined technologies. And so that's what we're doing on private cloud. Now, we are also extending that to support public cloud in two different ways. The first way is enabling customers who are starting their hybrid cloud journey. To achieve that, we are working with mega cloud vendors and a network of over 4,000 partners, building public clouds. They use the same software-defined infrastructure components that we have on the private cloud. So that way, a customer can really have a great seamless customer experience in a hybrid cloud with the same management, same networking, same policies, and so on. But we are also extending that to support native public clouds. So any public cloud that has not been built using VMware components, we want to make sure that our customers in IT and in the development side have the right tools to be able to manage their work on those public clouds as well. So we are building a set of tools that are cloud agnostic. And we see in a future that is going to be multiple cloud, a customer should be able to use those tools to manage their workloads and their applications on any cloud, private or hybrid. And then finally, we also have newer efforts that are extending our expertise on cloud and our offerings to serve edge and IoT use cases, as well as telco clouds leveraging our network function virtualization products.
Excellent, excellent. So it started out with private clouds, then going to public clouds, multi-cloud, now to the edge clouds. That's excellent. So from the very broad to kind of like a narrow and niche topic is, The Fabric collaborates with entrepreneurs, start brand new companies and build them up. And VeloCloud was the first company that we created, grew up to be enormously successful and got acquired by VMware. So can you kind of give us the thought process, the strategy that went into VMware's acquiring VeloCloud, how that is, what the positioning was?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we are helping customers in that journey from private cloud, from the data center to the public cloud, all the way to the edge. So we believe that in the future there's going to be this multiple distributed cloud environment. And we want to build the best infrastructure software that we can build to help customers during that journey. Right? Now, what we realize is that our customers, first of all, their businesses are distributed by nature. So enterprises now no longer have one data center, but they also have remote locations, they have retail locations, they have remote offices. In addition to that, as they start embracing IoT, they have an even more distributed network where they're going to have billions of edge devices, gateways, and IoT things. So what we believe is that if we are helping a customer really build that future cloud architecture from data center to public cloud to the edge, we need to solve any problems or constraints or bottlenecks that prevent that. And one of the major problems is the WAN architecture. So the current WAN architectures are not able to scale and meet the performance requirements that are needed for this extremely distributed cloud. So what VeloCloud comes in is, when we looked at it, we saw that it can actually help modernize the WAN architecture, just like we've done in the data center, and abstracting the software from the hardware. They're doing the exact same thing on the WAN function. So by using software-defined technologies, they're able to abstract the function and move it to the cloud, right? And we believe that we are the experts on abstracting using software-defined technologies. So obviously, technologically, there was a great fit. Now, they are bringing that function to the cloud, so that actually brings the ability to scale and bring agility and efficiency at a very large scale for a distributed cloud. So that's a perfect fit with where we're going. And in addition to that, they are actually able to use centralized cloud-based management, so you can actually manage those remote locations where you don't even have an IT person next to every branch or every IT device. And that's another area where VMware has focused in the past, where we brought in management and operations in a centralized way to do a very efficient scale out of your operations. So this really allows to do the same on a distributed cloud.
It's great. So yeah, it's great to hear you play back some of the thoughts with which we actually created the VeloCloud company. That seems to have been a great alignment. So now that VeloCloud has been part of the VMware for a while now, about 6 months, I think. How is the execution going? Are there any highlights, interesting war stories that you'd like to share? It would be interesting to hear from the inside story.
Yeah, so the execution is going extremely well. They came into VMware having great momentum in the market, and they continue to have that momentum in the sales execution. I see it in many briefings with customers and service providers and telcos, and there's a lot of interest and excitement in trying to understand what are the different use cases that they can enable using this technology. The integration went really well. For us, it was very important when we bring a high-performing team like VeloCloud, that the team and that culture feel very welcome at VMware. So they really wanted to move into our campus, so we moved them into one of our new buildings. But at the same time, we wanted to respect some of their traditions and their culture. So for instance, in their old office, they used to have a family tree where they used to put pictures of every new employee. So they actually brought that into the new office, so that tradition continues.
Interesting.
In addition to that, at VMware, we have standard cubicles. They are used to feel more comfortable in a more open floor workspace. So we actually brought in that style of workspace to our campus. And I think they're having a blast. They really enjoy
That's
being
very
part for maintaining that culture and that sense of unity that they always had.
That's excellent. Yeah, that's very nice. Great to hear things are going very well, and some of these cultural vignettes are very interesting to hear. So you mentioned at the outset VMware strategy, cloud strategy, and one of the things that you mentioned that was very intriguing there was the multi-cloud aspect of it. So you went from private cloud, public cloud to multi-cloud.
Yep.
So what specifically is happening with respect to the multi-cloud approach? How are you approaching it?
Okay. Yeah, so we're taking a multi-pronged approach to multi-cloud. The first piece is just hybrid cloud. So we have a large network of partners who are building clouds using the same software-defined infrastructure components. Right? So once a public cloud is built on the same software-defined infrastructure components, the experience is just seamless. It's a similar experience. You can use the same management tools that you already have and you have invested in and you already know how to use. Now, there's another prong to that strategy, which is there are customers who have moved some workloads to native public clouds. So those workloads are not going to be running on software-defined infrastructure components that are similar to what our customers have. So what we're doing there is we have built and continue to develop a set of cloud-based cloud services. So these services are operated as a SaaS, and they are able to come in and manage any workload on any public cloud. So it's cloud agnostic. For example, we have services that go do discovery of assets that you have on a public cloud. They are able to do cost analysis and optimization of resources across different clouds. We also have tooling that allows you to do log analysis of any workloads that you have running on a cloud, metrics analytics, and so on. So again, this allows any customer to manage their workloads running on public clouds. They can leverage those tools really on any cloud. So we're really trying to bridge customers going today from a private cloud to a multiple cloud with a common set of tools that solves their problems, and they can leverage and use on any cloud that they want to run in. Okay.
So to switch a little bit, so how are you approaching cloud security? So we have had discussions, and some of the enterprises are still kind of nervous about having their data on the cloud.
Yep.
So when you approach an enterprise, what's the dialogue? How are you convincing them that hybrid cloud is safe to use, VMware is making it safer to use? How do you approach that?
Good question. So we at VMware believe that security needs to be simplified. So our customers are definitely struggling with numerous set of security tools, an ever-increasing number of alerts, and a shortage of IT staff that is expert in security, that can work in a SOC, analyzing all these alerts and the threats. So what we are doing is we are trying to make security intrinsic into the infrastructure. In other words, we're building in security capabilities on the software-defined infrastructure that you're already buying from us. And we are doing this on the private center, but because the hybrid clouds are being built using the same software-defined infrastructure components, you're going to get all the benefits. I mentioned, we've been around for 20 years, which is our 20-year anniversary. And for 20 years, we've been building security features into our product. So we have encryption on the compute side. We're adding encryption on the network side. All these built-in capabilities will help make your infrastructure more secure in private, also in hybrid. Another example is when we entered the software-defined networking space through our Nicira acquisition and our current product, NSX, that enables a use case that is called microsegmentation. So one thing that you can do is on your network, once you deploy software-defined networking for efficiency and for agility reasons, you can actually create very granular segments of security with their own policies. So if you actually get an attack and somebody gets inside your perimeter, they're going to be able to get into just one segment. And they're not going to be able to laterally move into other segments. So that allows you to actually contain the problem and more quickly pinpoint it and resolve it. That's one example. In addition to that, we are making investments in newer products. But what we're looking for is, again, it needs to make security intrinsic into the infrastructure software, and it needs to simplify security. So one of the investments that we have is a product called App Defense. So App Defense add security capabilities to the compute infrastructure, and what it does is it's managing it's an endpoint security product. It's adding application security by taking the information that we already have on the compute side around the context of that application, that intent of that application, and how it was deployed, and then it's using machine learning and AI and monitoring any changes that are done to the configuration of the application to raise potential alerts and potential threats. But it's not doing it in isolation. It's doing it using the very large amount of context data that we already have on the infrastructure. Right. So it's a very efficient way to add a layer of app security to the components that you already have from us.
Excellent, excellent. So to move slightly from the cloud space to the IoT space, we expanded our own focus from the cloud to IoT. It looks like VMware has also done that. So what is VMware's thought process on IoT infrastructure side?
Yeah, so we about 4 years ago, we acquired a company called AirWatch, and AirWatch was addressing the device management and device security for mobility. So enterprises were struggling with the proliferation of mobile devices. Right? So we have definitely expertise on controlling, managing, and security around mobility. And what we wanted to do was basically extend that to IoT. Right? And in IoT, it's obviously happening at a much larger scale and in a much more distributed way. So what we have done is we created our own offering, which is called Pulse IoT. And the Pulse IoT actually takes some of those fundamentals around providing an enterprise-grade security management of mobility and extend that to any IoT devices, whether it's a gateway or any IoT things.
Okay. So that's interesting. So one thing that we did hear about was Ray O'Farrell, who kind of led some aspects of this within VMware, has kind of expanded his role and also working with Dell EMC. So how is that combination of VMware and Dell EMC IoT strategy, how does that work?
Yeah. So IoT deployment is really a solution that goes from the IoT application to the data center or cloud to the gateway, hardware, software, and the things. And to make an IoT deployment successful, you actually need to bring all those things together. So we had the opportunity to work together with Dell in bringing our respective components to drive better integration solutions that are better for the customer. So for example, on the gateway side, we can bring our software platform, Dell can bring their hardware gateway, and they're just going to be integrated and work out of the box. In addition to that, on the Dell family, we have Pivotal, and Pivotal actually brings expertise on application development and even application development services. So to the extent that a company is looking to build out an IoT application, they can bring in all the application expertise, and then us and Dell and even a larger network of partners that would also be required to completely deploy IoT could come in and really make sure that this works end to end. And then in addition to that, we both can look together what are new customer pain points or new use cases that need a solution, and potentially decide together to make investments to make that happen.
Very interesting. Yeah. So we have a company called IoTM that I think is working very closely with Dell,
Yep.
And starting to work closely with VMware and Ray. So we are kind of looking forward, excited, and looking forward
absolutely.
to some of this collaboration with VMware and Dell EMC. So within that, we talked about cloud security. Are you also hearing concerns from your customer IoT customer base about IoT specific security issues, and what's the thought process on how to address that?
Yeah, absolutely. Just embracing an IoT deployment is going to expand your perimeter even more, right? So it increases the surface area, and
unconnected devices are getting connected.
Unconnected devices are getting connected, and there's definitely a lot of concerns around the security aspects of that. And we are definitely interested in helping our customers solve all the infrastructure problems to address this. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that for the cloud or data center component, which there's going to be one in an IoT use case, we're making security intrinsic into the software-defined infrastructure component. That's one piece, right? Second, we're definitely extending the network all the way to the edge. And as I mentioned earlier, our software-defined network brings some elements of network segmentation. So it's another layer of security.
Okay.
In addition to that, we're definitely bringing our, through our IoT Pulse and our AirWatch expertise, expertise on really managing and controlling the devices that are used at the edge of IoT. Now, on top of that, you're absolutely right that there's a lot of innovation that is happening trying to solve new problems. So as things are getting connected, there's definitely need for discovery, visibility of the devices and the different use cases, threat analytics, better threat intelligence and detection and response, just like it happened on the data center and on the end user devices. All that needs to happen as well at the edge and on the IoT devices. So we are watching startups who are innovating in this space. We're looking forward to work with best of breed technologies and problem solvers in this space.
We may want to introduce somebody to.
Yeah, perfect.
So I think we are kind of like at the end of our discussion here, but typically when we reach this stage, we like to ask folks such as yourself is what advice you would give for startups like this, how to work with VMware, what the do's and don'ts of what works and what doesn't.
Great. Yeah, I think the first advice for any startup, whether it's working with VMware or not, is you need to have absolutely focus on customer intimacy. So for us, that's first. We expect a lot of the startups that come and talk to us have great technology and great innovation. So that needs to be table stakes. But we want to make sure that they are getting to know that first customer, those next 10 customers, the next 100 customers, and understand what problems do they have, what problems could emerge, right? So a customer may not have a problem yet, but all these changes could definitely introduce new problems. So that's number one. We want to make sure that when a startup comes and talk to us, they're thinking about what are the problems that they, together with VMware, can jointly solve. And we are very interested in engaging in that conversation. When they come to that, the next thing would be, let's work with a couple customers, like the proof of the pudding, right? So we should go to a couple customers and demonstrate that this happens, that we are actually adding value by solving a new problem in a collaborative way. From there, we can definitely work on some of the joint marketing and some of the other efforts that support that, but it all starts with having those one or two customer successes. That just creates a lot of pull. So what we've seen is that creates a lot of pull where actually the field and different other customers pull both companies into solving that. But then also if the customer success definitely translates into a success story that we can tell, we can market, and it just fits into itself.
Great. So thanks, Erasmo, for stopping by and sharing your views.
Absolutely, it was a pleasure.
Looking forward to the next episode of the Fabric Spotlight. Thank you.
Great, thank you.